All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. How's everybody doing on this beautiful Saturday? Had a good workout with my muftis. I've been a little bit busy because I'm preparing for my trip to Michigan. And I got a lecture series I'll be doing at the public library for the youth and for misnomer Black history. But I'm coming from American history perspective. And once again, it's always an honor to go back to my home city and do things on a scholarship perspective. And so a lot of people talk about certain things that they don't have a clear understanding on. Like when I talk about private or Veritas, Fides, Candor, Firmitas, flag. Once again, I said Veritas, Fides, Candor, Firmitas, flag. And it's a few things that's in that statement when I talk about judicial notices and an opening statement by the congruence, but I'll be speaking on a judicial notice, JS 029587-168 GB. And what I'm going to be doing is just giving bullets. I'm not going to go too far in it because I lecture this stuff. I've done this stuff on the college campuses, and I explain this stuff a plethora of times. But congruence refers to the state of argument, harmony, or correspondence between two or more things, such as shapes in geometry that are identical in size, and shape or alignment between personal thoughts and actions. Synonyms include harmony, accordance, consistency, compatibility, and conformity. So key uses in this phrase is geometry. When I talk about the two triangles are congruent if they have identical side length and angles, even if rotated or flipped. Mathematics. When I talk about number theory, the relationship where two numbers have the same remainder when divided by a module, such as 25. When it's divided by that certain 11, the mod is 7. And psychology, the alignment between a person's real self, aka actual behaviors, and ideal self, and described by a certain a scholar named Carl Rogers. We broke this down a plethora of times in academia. And then we got the general uses, the congruence of two theories or systems, meaning they agree or correspond with each other. And so I take key synonyms are agreement, accordance, harmony, correspondence, consistency, compatibility. Fundamental concepts are geometry. When I talk about figures, coincide perfectly when superimposed. When I when I show you in science, like our Morse Quran, certain chapters in our Morse Quran, I can superimpose and put on top of each other and explain it real easy to where anyone that's promulgating some Moorish, you have to look at them as criminals because they are. Psychology is a state of being well adjusted in our harmony of oneness. And also chemistry, when a substance dissolves or melts to form a phase with the same composition as the solid. So that's just one phrase when I speak upon this particular topic. Now, Veritas, Fides, Candor, Firmitas. I don't know if anybody understand what that means. And hold on one second, because I'm typing and talking at the same time. Okay. Hold on, y'all. One second. Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. And so when I say that statement, Veritas or Veritas, Veritas, that's truth. Fides or Fides, Fides, is faith, trust, confident. Candor is sincerity, purity, or brilliance. And Firmitas is the strength, the steadfastness, or the durability. And so the usage and synonyms, these terms are frequently combined on family crest. Now watch this, let me show you something. Cause I hope y'all catching what I'll be saying. So let me go back to what I just said. Often, when I say these phrases, it translates from Latin to truth, faith, trust, sincerity, purity, and strength, steadfastness, often used in crest of mottos. This combination emphasizes moral integrity, reality, and mental fortitude. It represents a commitment to honesty, loyalty, clear-mindedness, and unwavering endurance. Here are my family crest, my coat of arms. So if a person not operating right in their nobility, they lying on the internet, and they charlatans, and they sovereign citizens, paper terrorists. Veritas, truth. Fides, faith, trust, confidence, candor, sincerity, purity, brilliance. Firmitas is strength, steadfastness, durability. Right? These terms are frequently combined on family crests. These terms are frequently combined on family crests, institutional, or school badges to represent core values or guiding principles, often appearing on a flag banner design. And once again, I told you synonyms were integrity, honor, loyalty, constancy, and our adapt prayer. When I say even a portion of our is inconstancy, there's still a greater part of our nature that is divine. Genuineness, fortitude, resilience, truthfulness. The phrase combines core Roman virtues designed to denote a robust and honorable character. My family crest, my coat of arms. My family crest, my coat of arms. My family crest, my coat of arms. I just gave you an introduction. So anybody that's giving you something that's civil or anything, they should know what they're talking about and be noble with it. If not, it's criminal behavior. So let's get to the topic. Now let me go back again. I told you, certain things that's private. You have to know how to do things and not just listen to characters. Because I'm talking about families. I'm talking about nations, nothing individualized. So when I talk about private, when I talk about Veritas, Fides, Candor, Firmitas, flag, when I talk about the judicial notice, and the number that you can look it up is JS029587168GB. You're supposed to have a conversation, not no one bringing things to you and say, now do this and do that. And when you do all those things, you're going to be way worse off than what you ever started off, because nothing's going to change. I promise you this. If you don't know what's valid before any of this, because even the people that have done these things, they had a rude awakening, because a lot of people weren't correct in their processes and how you do things. That's why I always throw the trump card. When a person comes, especially these Negroes on the internet with the fake science, I can give you a trump card in history. What do I mean when I speak? I love religion, but I'll tell you, it's certain people that took an oath not to tell you the truth. It's a thing called the FBI, which is the faith-based initiative, which a lot of preachers have. That's to get the government mandated money, so they compromise the truth of who we are, of being 5%ers to tell the truth, and they get you caught up with Negro, black, and colored, and things that's synonymous to slavery, things that's silver mortis because we don't know language. We get caught up in a religious game. And just because you a Christian, you still a Christian slave. When we talk about the black codes and the black Christian codes and all these things where people thought they were free, it's not it. It takes our nationality and our spirituality. It takes us to have this conversation. And so a lot of our men are religiously blind because some may went to seminary and you only learn a certain way to speak. You don't really learn, you don't know your history. You've been trained like a dog. You've been trained seminary, not educationally. You don't have the pieces to the puzzle. And people must admit that. And that's the problem with us when everybody say they officials and things, but everybody's not where they need to be because we let others teach us and not the right ones. So ego happens and confusion. We have a right of a nationality and a right to change it. Yes, religion is good, but our spirituality should be it to make us a complete fifth. So I hope y'all wrote down what the word congruence mean. And I showed y'all my family crest on my coat of arms. When I break things down all the time, when I say family names mean things and people don't operate the right way, where I'm almost at the pinnacle, and I just have to say this with honesty, without all the help that I can get from my family and my friends, because I love my family and friends. And my mother and my father are my biggest supporters and my empress. But I understand my mission is not everyone's mission. But I promise you, everyone is going to watch. Because everything I talk about is valid. We're tax exempt for the federal government. And we're giving all our money away to these people, to these churches, with no results. But my family and friends are watching me. And we can build our own. So I tell them to have a front seat. Because it's all getting ready to happen. And it's going to come from all individuals that we thought was powerful. And they're going to tell you that your brother, your cousin, your nephew is the one that's powerful. They all sons of Muslims. I try to tell this to all my brothers and sisters that act like they Masons and won't tell the truth. I say every European Mason is a son of Muslim, and you running your jacktail self around here calling yourself a widow's son. And my empresses calling themselves widow's daughters, and under the Daughters of American Revolution, which came up with the marriage license, which is a third-party contract. Nobody teaching the truth of things the right way, because a lot of these men are scared. And I tell these men, what you want to just be, go to a church and be in a pulpit? What's your mission? Just to be preaching? You don't have a real mission, because our mission is to teach the truth. So when I talk about the opening statement by congruence, when I give you the other part of history, and these the conversations that need to be had in everyday language, truth and facts are spoken interchangeably, as if they are one and the same thing. Truth, true, and truce. Truth, true, and truce. And trust are not facts. Truth may contain a fact, but a truth does not need to contain a fact. Because the key points here to realize are a truth is not a fact. And a truth can masquerade as being a fact, because a fact exists independently of our opinions and truths. We can generate opinions on a fact. When I talk about subjective and objective, what? I'm the handsomest man in the world. Maybe to my wife, but God created man and woman. So you have to know which one is subjective and which one is objective. When an opinion is generated on the back of a fact, an artistic impression is created. An artistic impression, whether that is on canvas or is written poetry, only modifies the fact on paper in your mind, but not the original fact. No amount of opinions, truth, we generate on the back of a fact can modify the fact, because the fact stands alone and exists independently. Like when I say the truth, I will teach the truth, regardless if it fill a room up or clear it out. I'm not afraid. I stand alone, I'm a lion. Oh, you want to be a part of the crowd and know you lying. And I ask all my brothers that read the biblical scriptures, is the Bible written in analogy, parable, and symbology? Is the Bible written in Koine Greek? If you know that, then clearly, and you don't know what I'm saying, you don't know the Bible, you're mistransliterating the text. If I say in the Bible, when you read, it's not It's finished. We're not under the law no more. And I say, well, what law are we under? Because that word is a Greek word called peliro, meaning to magnify and bring back to his remembrance. So if you don't understand language and linguistics, and you don't have a lexicon to interpret these words, you are making it up as you go. And if you don't have all the books to go with the Bible, because in your Bible, in Jeremiah and all these other chapters, it said, didn't you read this in the book of Yasher? The book of Yasher, spelled with the J, but it never was a J in the Hebrew dialect. So if your Bible asks you this, didn't you read this in the book of Yasher? That's what? A prerequisite. And it's actually with a question mark. And that's in your Bible. So how can some jackleg tell you something not canon, but the Bible that you're reading tells you, didn't you read this in the book of Yasher? And then the Bible that you have in your hand speaks about the Bible in your hand speaks over at least 20 specific books, but it references over 100. What do you mean, Sheik? The Bible that you have in your hand. The Bible that you have in your hand. It references other books. And it references a plethora of books that you should read before you even touch anything. How can the Bible talks about Enoch and then somebody tell you, well, the book of Enoch is not important, but the Bible that you have in your hand speaks on Enoch. The Bible you have in your hand speaks on Metatron. But you don't know language and synonyms because you don't understand words. I'll give you another one as we proceed. You will hear a lot of people that's really not studiers of the scriptures and initiated and anointed and consecrated in the Bible, because you will hear these religious preachers that went to seminary say, the astrological signs, the Bible don't talk about that. That's something spooky. And a creator named the heavens and the earth. And I ask all of you, research what Maserat mean in your Bible. And then you go back and fact check all those liars that say the constellations and the zodiac is not in the Bible. And I just say Maserat, 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 Maserat. And then you start researching what Maserat means in your biblical scripture. And then see who been lying to you. Because these people don't know. They get up and just polypary. That's what most of our people do. They get up and polypary and think they put a scripture together like it means something. But then when I ask them these questions, when I fact check them, and I say, what does the Bible say about Maserat? And the Bible says, woe to you lying preachers that scatter my flock, because you don't know. It's just like when I ask a person, when I say, well, Jeremiah chapter 10, and they say it ain't talking about the Nicolaitans following St. Nick. And they say, well, they're talking about pagan and idol worshiping. Well, what did the Nicolaitans do following St. Nick? They were idol worshiping. They took a certain tree, they tied it down, they put gold, they did all this to the Christmas tree. It's idol worshiping. And that comes from Yule and Saturnalia. So why don't we share this? Because just like Carter G. Woodson said, the miseducation of the Negro, we have to put it on our preachers and our teachers that's afraid to teach the truth. And so then you got to look at them. It's like, why are you afraid to teach the truth? Why are you afraid to teach the truth? You say you educated, you got these degrees and all this, and you part of all these groups. Why are you afraid to teach the truth? Because the European is my student. They all sons of Muslims. They'll tell you. So let's proceed. A fact exists independently of our opinions and truths. We can generate opinions on a fact. You can generate opinions on a fact. When an opinion is generated on the back of a fact, an artistic impression is created. An artistic impression, whether that is on canvas or is written poetry, only modifies the fact on paper in your mind, not the original fact. So when these people be saying, oh, I can do this and I can do that, and I say, well, precedent in the law cases, doc number, the Free Information Act, just because what they saying don't change the fact. It don't change the original fact that they lying and it ain't no truth in them. That's why the scripture says, woe to you lying pastors that scatter my flock. I'm going to continue to say it. Woe to these lying pastors that scatter our flock. Woe to all these people that took an oath not to tell you the truth and won't investigate it. No amount of opinions. The Bible says, 1 Thessalonians 5:21, prove all things and hold fast to what is good. It didn't say believe what I'm saying and the Bible says this. No, prove it. Prove it. And right under the word belief, you got a word called belie. Believing in things that you can't prove. Truth we generate on the back of a fact can modify the fact. The fact stands alone and exists independently. just like a lion, just like myself. This is why the word fact and truth are two totally different words with two totally different meanings. So when people play these games with you on the internet, I say they'll get their butt whooped in a court of law. They would plead themselves to the court. It would be contempt on court because the language that they talking is totally off. And they'll get you to commit fraud in front of the whole world. I'll give you an example. A fact is a man or a woman. That's a fact. If we break down the word woman, watch this, W-O-M-A-N, woman, it means man with a womb. Stay in the context. It is a fact that a man without a womb cannot create life. It is a fact that a woman cannot naturally create life without a man. And this is why the species is collectively known as what? Man. Homo sapiens mean one wise. Homo means one. Sapien means wise. And if you modify the species, man, by calling it human, you get a what? Subspecies. When it said that man is over everything on this earth, human is the opinion, which modifies the fact of the man or the woman by the coloring of the man. Human. You is a color. Just like mankind. No, we are human. Just like when people talk about civil rights. I don't care about no civil rights. I'm down with human rights. You, H-U-E, and H-U. H-U-E and H-U are the color modifications of an artistic impression of man and woman. Another way of saying you is shade, or black, or white. When you look at the definitions in this context, and black and white, I'll get to it. When you see the definition of human and human rights, when you see the definition of H-U-E, as I get to it, in this context, because truths are simply the opinions of at least three or more. Now we get into biblical scriptures, when two or more gather. We're talking about witnesses. Witnesses have to be two or more, a true witness. Stay with the science. A truth is not a belief, because right under the word belief, you had a word called belie, believing in things that you can't prove. TRU, you remember Master P and them had an album called TRU? TRU, true. TRU meaning your belief has nothing to do with a truth or a fact, because truth, trust, and truce, truth, trust, and truce, T-R-U-C-E, and the word true are just another way of saying there are three things involved or three people, as in three sides of a triangle. Please stay in context, because when you go out of context, you're done. You're done. You must stay in proper context. You must stay in the proper house of what we're dealing with. So if you say you study in law, what parameter of law we in? We can be in local law, state law, federal law. We can be dealing with indigenous people, law and policy. We can be dealing with tax codes. We can be dealing with all different parameters of law. So do you know that language? Most people don't. I promise you. Let's proceed. Bi means two, as in bicycle, bisexual, binoculars. That is to say, two things doing what? Coming together like two wheels on a bicycle. When they come together, it's called what? Do anybody know? Do anybody know this phrase, when they come together? All these people that be on the internet saying this and that, we'll check them real fast. And I guarantee you, everything I'm talking about, they have no idea. So if they don't have no idea what I'm talking about, you shouldn't even be dealing with it. Do anybody know two things coming together in this context, like two wheels on a bicycle? When they come together, it's called a what? Anybody that's telling you this stuff on the internet, all these people saying you can do this, they should know exactly what I'm saying, because this is the language. I guarantee they don't know the language. Do any of you know what that language is? A person that ain't even to the science, that's a truth seeker, that study law and civics, they know, because it's a certain language. Do anybody know what that's called? I'll say the phrase again. Bi means two, as in bicycle. B-I-C-Y-C-L-E. The B-I-C-Y-C-L-E is in bisexual, into binoculars. That is to say, two things coming together, like two wheels on a bicycle. And when they come together, it's called a what? What type of agreement is that called? Watch this. I asked this joker this one day, a person that followed this jackleg that got this fictitious name. He said, "Oh, I have to get back with you." And it been months. She said, these people frauds. I said, duh. They won't come around me with that because I'm a Ghostbuster. They gonna look me up off top and they gonna not want to play that game. They're not gonna want to play that game. I guarantee you. Do anybody know what the phrase is called? I'll wait. I'll read it again. Bi, in this context, means two, as in bicycle, bisexual, binoculars, because it's two. This is to say two things. I'm giving an answer. Two things coming together, like two wheels on a bicycle. When they come together, it's called a what? Agreement. It's called a what agreement? For all the people, all the paper terrorists on there, what is the agreement called? They can't even tell you, so they don't even know the language. You know they ain't won nothing in no court of law. Nobody can even give these prerequisites that I'm giving. I'm not even in high science. This is a pre-elementary. If I had some of my elementary students on here that I help tutor in elementary that's on college levels, they'll be like, well, she teach this every day. And so if somebody promulgating that they do this and they won these cases, and they follow these fictitious people, then the person should know the language. That means you can teach something. Just like if I'm dealing with music, I can't just listen by ear, even though I might have that skill. I have to be able to read the music and the notes to be able to teach you both. So what is that coming together? What type of agreement is that? Can anybody answer that? Can anybody answer what type of agreement is that when two of these things coming together? Can anybody answer that for me? Can anybody answer that for me? If you can't, just say no, and we can proceed. Because this is what we're supposed to do. People sit on like a bump on a log and then just say, yep, but don't know the right answer. Do anybody know the answer to that? Most people don't. It's called a bilateral agreement. It's called a bilateral agreement. A bilateral agreement. I knew most people really don't know. They just follow these people and you don't ask questions. So uni, the UNI means one, as in soul, as in neo, as in unicycle. You know, unicycle, universe, uniform, unisex. And when you see the word UNI, to simply substitute the UNI with one, as in one verse, one form, one sex. A unilateral agreement is an oxymoron, just like a sovereign citizen is an oxymoron. You can't be a sovereign and a citizen at the same time. That's an oxymoron. So when these people talk this sovereign citizen stuff or this paper terrorist stuff, or say you can do something on your own, that's an oxymoron. Because it masquerades as because it masquerades as more than one thing coming together to make an agreement. And so when you do all this paper terror stuff, you screwed. And these people not gonna tell you this, they just happy that you paid them that money. Because truth and its various derivatives, are formed by a minimum of three, whether that is by people or by other entities. And when you hear politicians say they made a unilateral agreement with China, it means they made an agreement with themselves, which has nothing to do with China. I hope y'all caught this. And clearly the politician has made false and misleading sentences that work to your determinant. That's what I'll be telling all my brothers and sisters, like my muftis, when they be like, oh, I'm on this person campaign. Okay, well, what's their agenda? You just playing. And that's what I'll be saying, because when you have that opportunity, you have the opportunity to see what these people's agendas be. You see? And what can happen in your community. These people work for the community, and we be missing it. And once you have agreed upon a generated truth, it forms a binding contract that the government corporation that the religion or the judiciary are are in possession of facts. But what they are doing is generate opinions upon opinions. And that's what's happening to you. And when the innocent believe in these truths, a contract is created or formed. For example, global warming, global cooling, global control. And another example is the legislator, the judiciary, and the executive robbing you of your ability to conduct your own affairs. And this is what these people doing. They setting y'all up. When I'm telling y'all, it's the way to do things the right way. And this is not the right way, they show you. Because they don't know. And they can't teach you something they don't know. And when the parliamentary system, like the British Museum, the courts, or the virtues, or the various religions formulate a truth, they are simply witnessing anything, whether it's false or a fact, as a truth, trust, or truce, etc. And this truth is now sold as an itemized intellectual product, as a fact. And to reiterate, all it takes to lay claim upon a fabrication or to make false claims is for three people, three entities to come together and I agree that it is the truth. Not saying it's factual. You get three jacklegs and get their rear end handed to them in a court of law. The splitting of this soul, one fact into three, is how trusts are formed. Like the Father, the Son, and the so-called Holy Ghost. But these three are one, not separate. Stay with me. This is the way that titles are split, making one equitable title and the other a legal title administered by a third party, robbing you of what? Title, equability, and standing. That's like a marriage license. It's a third party contract, right? Just like I tell everyone, every adult, when I say you have a will, and I say a will is litigation. If you have a will and someone died, they're gonna sue that will. That child that might have been missing or you don't deal with, they're gonna come sue the courts. I break this stuff down a plethora of time, and then it eats up the estate, and then no one's getting nothing because people arguing over semantics or pennies, and everyone lose. And in the hands of honest people, a trust, a truth is formed to keep balance, so the facts do not become corrupted. And one cannot corrupt. Two can divide, as in corporate, but three can keep balance, courtesy of the rings of power. And the fiction world is made up of a collection of engineered truths fed to the people as facts. Watch this, I'm gonna break some more words down for you so you can understand the context and the science that I'm in. We understand how words and trust work, so let us study the word museum. The British Museum is by royal charter. Museum equals a place of amusement, as in an amusement park. Ideologies are formed for your amusement by the museum, like the tabloid newspaper, films, documentaries, all this fake stuff, like with Hidden Colors will tell you Africa was named after some European, and Negroes made that, and I showed you that's false. Africa was not named after no European. Are the platforms for promotion of the amusing theories. When I say theories are just opinions, it's no facts. And artifacts are fabricated on the backs of these theories. And these fabrication of theories and artifacts are displayed in newspaper articles or in a place like a museum for your amusement. And the function of the British Museum is to do all of this. And the ideological theories are now calibrated to produce money. In other words, determining how valuable a theory is to make money from. And another phrase from the British Museum is the Bank of England, Paraphrase the British Museum, doing business as what? The Bank of England. So when I do business, I say DBA, doing business as. I don't do business as my name, Curry Goodman. I do business as the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. That's tax exempt for the federal government. Religious, charitable, scientific, educational-wise. That's how I travel. That's how I go in prisons. That's how I go into elementary schools. That's how I get grants and things, because I apply for this stuff under my nonprofit. And a lot of stuff is really happening for me, and I can't wait, and I'm excited for the future. The same way you see these big nonprofits being supported by the people is the same way I'm doing the same thing and giving people taxes and receipts. And all my family going to be able to watch it, be like, damn, he's been telling us this for years. Yes, 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 yes. I've been telling people this for years, but it's okay. First example, the theory of evolution is generated by way of Charles Robert Darwin, doing business as the legal fiction name, Charles Darwin. Artifacts such as dinosaur bones, fossils, are generated to fit the theory, and vice versa. So let us pause a minute and consider dinosaur bones or any one of these gigantisms were never mentioned or found predating 1800s, as if to say nobody else ever did any excavations like Roman buildings, roads, and other infrastructures. So to recap, all it takes is three people to come together, which is a trust, to turn the fact of a cow bone into the truth of a dinosaur bone, and to have this trust form through any museum, promoting it via various avenues of media. Like when I talk about Tavistock Institution of Human Engineering. And the second example, communism, socialism, is generated by Karl Heinrich Marx, doing business as the legal fiction name, Karl Marx. And his job is to convince the populace, albeit the masses, with the book Das Kapital, or that capital is the enemy of the people. Capital means one thing, and one thing only, your head, as you will understand as I go later in this teaching tomorrow. But it's the judicial notice. And if you believe the British Museum sponsored rhetoric, you have lost your head. A third example is Sigmund Freud, doing business as the legal fiction name, Sigmund Freud. His job was to sell you the ID, the I.D, the persona, the ego, the ES, the IT, the idiot. The ID, the I, is a mental disorder. And if you have an ID, you are mentally incapacitated in this context. And when a parliament, the creator of lies, asks for your ID, it means that they are asking you for a verification of your mental disorder in your passport, your driver's license, your student ID, written in these caps, which all systems that put us under a certain license. It's just what it is. Not saying everyone don't have it, because everyone has a form of license. You got a barber's license, you got this, you got this, you got this, you got all this for somebody else to tell you how to operate. But when you operate under your religious laws and you operate as who you're supposed to be, no one can license you. Like no one can give us a marriage license. But for those that's not under their religious laws, you got to go to the government and get a marriage license. Ask anybody, any lawful person, does the religious laws trump anything? And they'll tell you. This is how system of licenses was birthed through the British Museum. And another example, Carl Gustav Jung, doing business as the legal fiction name, Carl Jung, is to sell persona, which are classified as mental disorders, alternative personality, split personality, and multiple personality. The Bank of England prints the instric, or the future money that symbolizes the perceived value that these theories and artifacts will generate. This is actually known as what we call fiat, or acting currency. Nothing wrong with it, because we all have it. And so when these people say, well, Bitcoin gonna take over Bitcoin ain't backed by nothing either. So go on and get you some paper, at least you can get you some gold for it. Don't listen to these jacklegs. Bitcoin ain't backed nothing by neither. It's just a frequency. It can be gone in cyberspace. Get you some money, and if you want you some gold and silver, you do that. But don't listen to these jacklegs telling you to put all your money in some fake currency that people just keep creating. I promise you this. They say money is not backed up by this. Well, you can get you some gold for your money, and you can turn them pennies in and get something. I promise you this. Acting means pretending, performing fictional roles in films, theaters. And that's what these people be doing. They're acting. As an adjective, it means temporarily doing business as someone else, acting superior. So when you got these people saying that they some consulate general or they some Moroccan president, they playing. So if the court's playing, don't you think these people playing too? Somebody you met on the internet. So I'll give you an example. Superior means things that are superficial, lacking depth of character, and incapable of serious thought, i.e. Superman is a man of what? Superficiality. Another example, the Supreme Court is a court of superficiality, lacking depth of character, lacking fortitude, incapable of rules, ruling lack of thinking. Fiat means flat, empty, inflated, because the money market goes up and down. The value of a dollar goes up and down depending on the jurisdiction, lacking any value. Currency means the current that is found flowing between the river banks and the oceans. And don't let nobody always talk about, get you caught up in the things on water and in land. Because if they just talking words, tell them to bring the water on land. They don't know how. They're going to sink, and you're going to sink right with them. Banking is the bank of a river. The currency is the flow of energy called current. When I always tell us we are electrical currents. And the Bank of England banks the flow of energy generated by the lies. And the theories and artifacts are credited assetted as to how much money and for what period of time they generate commercial energy. And these theories with their artifacts are franchised to all other museums doing business as. Remember in business I say DBA, doing business as? And they doing business as the Bank of America, the Bank of Switzerland, the Bank of International Settlements, the Vatican Bank, the World Bank, International Monetary Funds, etc. And to maintain control over its franchises, the British Museum steps in. If the continuity of their lies is compromised, or is a franchise fee is not paid to the franchisor, which is the British Museum. So when we get into banking terms, or in the banking context, the British Museum uses their engineered truth to make claims, and then using a trust, engineer, incomplete, false liens from the claims of the franchise fee is not paid. Artifacts means it is artistry of creating an opinion from a fact, i.e. art equals opinion and fact equals fact. The British Museum is the franchisor of the Oxford Press. Another word for British is Boudica or Boudica, B-O-U-D-I-C-A when you see that, or spelled B-O-A-D-I-C-E-A, Britannica, Britain, British Isles, and these are words for conducting banking in maritime. Another word for museum is treasury. Another word for treasury is three people's surety. Treasury is to treasure the lies that are generated in order to seize or capture factual money and currencies like gold, silver, copper, minerals, land, water, using empty, worthless values, fiat, currency, commonly known as shadow banking. The museums are money laundering shadows for facts. Paraphrase old lamps for new lamps, and God's money for fiction money. And when these bank lies enter the privately owned banks of England, the money that was generated through the public bank, known as the British Museum, it vanishes into the hands of the privately owned Bank of England. Paraphrase public-private partnership. And just to recap this science, when the maritime banking of the lies is done, it is put into maritime ship treasury. And the maritime treasury uses a conduit called public-private conversion, and banks in land jurisdiction called the Bank of England. To make clear what I'm saying, my brothers and sisters, in this judicial notice, what has just been said is the British Museum is the generator of lies and artifacts, and in banks those lies back into the museum, which is another word for the treasury, and through conversion, that treasury becomes the Bank of England, which steals people's land, gold, silver, copper, minerals, water, H2O. And this is no secret mystery. We talked about this in civics class in academia. I lecture this. I get all this stuff from the Royal Archives and the Library of Congress. I'm part of the Philosophical Research Society. It's nothing new. Our people just been lying, and they don't know how to explain it. The Age of Extinction event is now upon the British Museum and all of its franchises. Men do not have truce with liars. Men do not have truce, T-R-U-C-E, with liars. Liars forfeit everything. That's what you don't know. That's what the Bible says. Woe to you lying preachers. Woe to you lying lawyers. Because liars forfeit everything. So when you're dealing with a liar, everything is forfeited. That's what I be saying when these people say some stuff and they try to reinvent it themselves. Well, they don't, everything that coming out their mouth is forfeited. All parliamentary systems, legislature, judiciary, executive are running their systems on 100% fraud on the words. Where the spoken words are used, the parliamentary systems claim parliamentary discretion, judicial immunity, meaning they take zero liability. This is frequently done by the use of past and future tenses, claiming the past is only an opinion and the future does not exist. Therefore, they have done nothing to incriminate themselves. And see, that's what you don't know. But them criminals won't come to me, especially these frauds on the internet with their hair all over their face and on their head with gold teeth, just talking. I'm telling you, it's cap, and they know it is, because they know I know them personally. I'd be in Vegas. I know it's cap. And they're not even smart as Bernie Madoff. And the words and the sentences are weaponized and toxified to work against the people. And we give you examples of these words. It is believed by the populace that justice serves the people and they correct the wrongs. Well, brothers and sisters, once the justice system, albeit called the judiciary system, once it gets you to contract and take ownership of these contracting words, the rape and the pillage of you starts. And this is what I tell people. You don't know the language that's being played on you, and these people don't. That's why they give you fictitious names. And when you take that stuff to court, it's hangman. And as soon as you contract, because that's what people doing, the words are now weaponized and toxified to work against you. When you get arrested, they say you got a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. And I'll take it further. Nothing you can say to no police or no prosecutor or nothing going to help you with your case unless you already agreed to immunity. And then you just gonna tell. See, these is facts. And the toxic system has changed your name. And so I tell people, don't get caught up in the whole caps. Because I just said, how you doing business? It's a different way to do these things. That whole caps, that's an old game. I don't care about no caps. What I say, if that makes sense, then I say, okay, write your name differently, which resembles your own live birth, born name, and you innocently agree to that all caps name. Didn't even catch what I just said. Didn't even just catch what I just said. And through toxic due process, you now establish that you are a legal fiction person in contract, in agreement, and in banking terms. You are the debtor. Whether that is a living debtor, person, passed away, owing money. Words and the various names that resemble your own name are by connotation and connotation alone, which are used to harm and steal your equity by presumption and assumption that a false name is attached to a living, breathing man or woman. If slaves can't make contracts and do all this, then it's layers that people have to peel back. Once you peel back layers, another one. Once you peel back one layer, it's another one. You don't peel back no layer and then become a paper terrorist. No. I've been doing this forever and I'm 49. None of this stuff I would do. I operate under my religious laws. I operate as a human. I do business as, and that's it. And we are a religious body. We understand with nationality and spirituality and race. We understand this. I don't try to tell nobody what to do. I know what I'm doing. And everybody around me are happy what they doing because we do things the right way. One of the best examples of when people be of a name change per se, watch this. And I'm showing you not no status correction because you annex your L or B. I'm teaching, so please stay in context. I'm lecturing. I'm not telling you to do nothing. So please don't take my words out of context. You should be asking a million questions. And if you don't have a million questions, then that's your fault. But one of the best examples of name changes is on a mortgage document, where you will come to witness what mortgage really means. And I showed y'all what mortgage means in a biblical sense. When it's debt, when I showed y'all the percentages, when you borrow $100,000 off a small interest, you be paying 3 times and you never own nothing. And I show people this. The real horror is that the people have failed to understand how the system works against the people and their loved ones at every turn. I never seen none of my European colleagues lose nothing when someone died or their grandma died, because everything being a certain type of trust. It's out of the public and everything is in private. The spirited people, along with the judicial notice, have broken the legal fiction world. And then when your family are ministers and when you operate like that, everything is in that entity name. Taxes in for the federal government. The family has it forever. It's in a whole different tax bracket. And this includes language fraud, slavery, barbarism, bureaucracies, all of their acts and various theaters of war, theaters of commerce, medical operating threats. You have heard about the toxified and the weaponized words, and the sexualization of words is also highly destructive. So the potency of which was demonstrated when the legal fiction name calling itself, I just say, I use a name like Tony Blair, used this method to sell the Iraq war to the people as a sexualized product. The people are creditors of the corporations, the governments, judiciary, the stock markets, the banks, the securities, and the exchange commissions, the SEC, etc., and so on. This is what you have to know to how to navigate. All corporations, government, judiciary, stock markets, banks, securities, and exchange commissions, the SEC, are the debtors to the people. And the success of the fiction to convince the people to be the debtors is one example of how the state actors, through lies, turn the people into debtors, as opposed to being the creditors. If this is also too overwhelming, then I challenge you to research the geoengineering and the cloud seeding. I lectured, everything I'm talking about, I lectured in the college campus, and you can hear a pin drop. I had professors coming from all over universities to be like, how did he know this? Because I'm initiated. If we come together and if people listen, we'll take over our whole community, the same way the European Jews are. But we too busy watching bad girls and watching each other fight and watching our brothers and sisters fight each other, having a man against a woman. We too busy doing that instead of coming together. We too busy talking about this God is better than this or I'm better than you. And that's cap, because biblical history doesn't say that. It's only one God. It's monotheism, no matter how you call it. And if you are new to geoengineering, then the research will help you understand how the people are kept blind, ignorant, and divided. Just like if you want to read Tavistock Institution of Human Engineering by John Coleman, you can get that from me for a small donation. You can start seeing this stuff is old. The global warming stage, a war over the novelty science of global coolers, because the two warring factions could not agree upon anything. The middleman stepped in and gave the people climate control. And the vastness of geoengineering is a very good demonstration of how your atmosphere is constantly engineered and re-engineered in your face. And when you research, you will come across a word called, what did Prince say? Chemtrails. Don't follow that course. I'm telling you, I do this. It's going to keep you stuck in an area. I promise you, man. Chemtrail is a conspiracy theory word generated by the geoengineers to confuse the fact of what is happening to your atmosphere. I'm telling you, if Prince was alive and he was saying that on TV, and if he had the time to sit to me and with the research that I have and the information, he'll be like, I stand corrected. Do you people, it's like, do you, the people, now comprehend how damaging these words really are to your own lives, to your own atmosphere, to your own babies, to your own health? And so when I lecture this on campus, people had questions. That's why I say, how do these people on the internet that follow these goofballs that say they can do this and do that, they not all on my YouTube channel, don't have a million questions? Because these are frequent questions asked. What is a judicial notice? These is regular people. A judicial notice, and you ask the people, what is the judicial notice that tell you to file all these paperwork? They couldn't tell you. A judicial notice is the way, in conventional language, to bring a fact into any court, in any country, in any jurisdiction, throughout our planet Earth, globe, etc. And if a judicial notice is the way to bring a fact, then what are the courts running with? What are they using? Question. Well, the answer is they are using what is known as legal fiction, with legal fictional words, conveniently known as the conveyance of false and misleading statements. Answer. Where is it a matter of showing credibility? Conventional courts will introduce what is termed the facts of the crime, so the perpetrators will not try to escape jurisdiction of what is termed answering for the crime. So the answer, this is usually done with high-profile cases to keep the populace subdued. So what is a court of record? A court is the four-corner rule. Whether the court is on paper, on a football pitch, a boxing ring, or a tennis court, it is not to be associated with any buildings or paraphernalia witnessed on anything that you will see on TV. Because the principal key is to be cognizant that the four corners of a document, I hope y'all listening to me, that the four corners of a document, I'm making facts. A lot of people don't know what I'm saying. These jacklegs on the internet, they just be talking, but they're not going to explain it, and you will get in trouble. The four corners of a triangle square, the four corners of a tennis court, the four corners of a boxing ring is the court and not the stadium, not the building, not the courthouse. Just as the church is not the building, but rather the congregation. I hope you caught that. A court of record is your own words or verbal record, which communicates with all other courts, having original jurisdiction over them, whether they be the county court, European Union court, tennis court, king's court, magistrate court, etc. Y'all still with me? What is the power of a judicial notice? Remember I told you in point 26, but I'm gonna go down a little bit. Remember point 26, if you write things down, I'm not gonna go back because I gave you the point. I will always ask a question, and the question would be in the answer that I gave previously. I gave it. So if you were trying to take a test and a person say, well, man, how can you fail? And this brother gave all the answers. You wouldn't be inattentive. So you would what? You would go and be a false witness. I'm telling you. At that moment, as witnesses and testified by billions of people, the people do not have access to the judiciary, the legislator, and the executive. Why is that? It is because you do not have your own court of record. You have no way of communicating your facts into their court of record, which disables you in terms of banking, in terms of legislation, in terms of conveying your wishes for the sheriff department and agencies. I hope y'all listening. You are also disabled in terms of dictating your terms and conditions to a mortgaging company, credit card company, politician, because you didn't reserve your rights to defend yourself as a business. I'm just summing it up in the right way. How important is this? Without it, you are totally and utterly disabled. You are dead on paper. When I ask people, your paperwork ain't right. What you mean? How you doing business? You DBA. You listen to the jacklegs. You doing paper wrong. You disabled. I mean, you doing business wrong. You are disabled. You are dead to the sheriff department, and you are dead to all corporations and agencies. And thousands of treaties are created on the back of this judicial notice to give it the weight, the power, and an exemplary reach to serve these facts on a global level. So I'll give you a little summary of this context. We got a couple more minutes and we out of here. With the verification that I'm giving you, you have power to stop person, to use the phrase arrest anyone that tries to harm you or the people. You have that right. Your own sense of responsibility and duty compels you to do this to anyone that tries to harm you or your people. You should be placing these frauds on arrest. Everyone that's on the internet talk about they can do this and do that, you should be making a real citizen's arrest, because it's fraud against the people. It's fraud against the people. And the judicial notice and global constitution are created to safeguard all men and women throughout our world. By standing and by studying this document, you become the what? The judge, the plenipotentiary, the judge of a document, of this said document, the judicial notice. It's wisdom in this. When you read 1 through 4 of your court of record and your full powers of attorney in hand, it's just like powers of attorney allowing you to become this certain judge of the books, the plenipotentiary judge of the books. That is the power of the judicial notice documents and books. I'll give y'all a couple words. Listen to this. The following words are all contractual words, the meaning of which we have gone to great lengths to teach my brothers and sisters on. And I had the pleasure to have these conversations on college campus with prosecutor attorneys and judges and Masons and European Masons, that's Scottish Rites, that's sons of Muslims. I never steer no one wrong. I say, don't do none of this stuff these people doing. You got to come learn something and be like, oh, it's already done, and do things the right way, because you're nothing by yourself. And if you use tick and any form of using contractual words such as black man, woman, because I said put dead in front of everything you call black, silver mortis, you are openly advising and describing yourself as being dead in the mind, body, and spirit, and therefore open to subjugation as a dead entity. Anybody that calling themselves African American or black this, I don't care how much spiritual stuff you think, lawfully you sending people back to slaves, because according to science of law, black means death. Negro, black, and colored, African American, all synonymous to slaves. I'm down with reparations, but slaves not getting reparations. I'm down with reparations. Forget restorations and all that. I'm down with reparations. Yes, restoring too, but I'm down with reparations when it's done the right way. And Negro, black, and colored, and African Americans will never get no reparations, identifying as slaves and misnomers and things that's dead in the eyes of the courts, aka silver mortis. It's so toxic and weaponized are the following words, which are only a few in hundreds of thousands, that they are described as being deadly. The words and their meanings are binding contracts that you choose to use or not. The solution is, know that what was done by the word or on paper can be undone through this judicial notice. Your duty is to stop and correct them by all means necessary. Remember, I told you, you're not changing nothing. You are correcting a mistake. Your last name is your family crest. You annex your L and B. You're not changing nothing. You are correcting the mistake that your mama might not have knew, and you might have taught your mom and them. Now you are correcting the mistake because it's important to you. You have to understand this and know how to navigate, and then the aha moment comes. And then we could talk about the SF 181 form pertaining to ethnicity and how to fill it out. Black man equals slave or dead. Black universally means dead. It also means that you are dead on paper. Unless you have perfected title, you are seen and treated as dead. All these people love Black Law's Dictionary. Well, in this context, Black Law's Dictionary, law for the dead. Black Law's Dictionary is a book of words defined to belong to what is termed the underworld, as in undertaking, underwriters, Lloyds of London underwriters, under investigation, under surveillance. That's why we call it the underworld. Stay in science, or the dark world. Stay with me. These words are engineered by people in the public or private to consider you and or the plaintiff black, aka dead, in the eyes of law. So don't get a hard on playing with the name, with the capitals, because we know black equals dead. I don't care if it's in caps or lower cases. In this context, capital means one thing. Cap. All cap means your head in this context. So don't get caught up in all the things capital. I just told you, when they say your name is in caps, I'm talking about your head. Please stay in context. Under no circumstances does capital mean money in this context. And the generators and engineers of the legal fiction name are trying to convince you that capital means money. The straw man is engineered when the generators of the legal fiction name successfully convince you that capital does not mean your head. This means you have successfully, by consent, replaced your what? Thinking with worthless fiat money. And that's what's happening, because they always tell you can sign something this, so you don't replace your thinking and your reasoning with some worthless fiat money. They're getting you to be paper terrorists. Are you listening to what I'm saying? The anti-capitalist, the anti-establishment movement is openly advising through its controlled opposition sponsors that you are anti-thinking and non-anti-autonomous. This means you have lost your head, your thinking, your cognizance, because it is your head that you use in everyday life and business affairs. The manifestation of your own intellectual property is in conducting your own business, your ability to control your own currency through your own banking skill. When I say you are a CFO of your life, and when you have replaced your head, then your capital, your everyday life and business affairs will be managed by the solicitor, or AKA we like to call the prostitute. And this solicitor, AKA prostitute, runs the country coroner's office, not to be confused with the medical examiner's office or the office of vital statistics. Everybody's birth certificate is born with all caps, no matter what color you are. And to signify that you have clearly lost your mind, your head, we are brain dead on arrival by our parents. We inherited this sin, but we can correct the mistake. White man dash woman equals European or North African. Y'all know this, right? When the SF 181 form, when it says pick all pertaining to ethnicity, look what white mean. Then you're gonna pick African American and nigger or fake Negro land instead of picking white, because you don't have a clear understanding. This is where the reign of the religion and Europhia originated from, which spread itself to the west of the globe, meaning any of these people in other parts of the world cannot claim nativity because they are claiming to be of the religion of Europa and North Africa in nativity. What I'm saying is, like white South Africans cannot claim nativity to their lands. And if you use the word white, tick any box, or fill out any form describing yourself as white, you are openly advertising yourselves as having no nativity. I hope you understand how I'm showing you how to navigate. I'm saying two things at one time. Nativity is the process of being born, the place of origin. Lacking nativity means you have no birth. You are not born and have no claim to gold or to the godfathers, etc. I hope I'm making sense to y'all. Solicitor, prostitute. A solicitor is a prostitute, as in soliciting, doing the dirty work. And when a prostitute is arrested, the prostitute is charged with doing what? Soliciting without a license. So if the prostitute got licensed to solicit, is it legit? In some states, they have to have that license. Just like in some places, to solicit, to knock on doors, you got to have a license. I'm teaching. Therefore, a solicitor is a prostitute with a what? License, called what? A licensed equal solicitor. This is called a secular argument, self-fulfilling prophecy. These parasites are known also as ambulance chasers, anticipating to take advantage of your misfortune. So a solicitor, or in this context, a prostitute, can only operate in fiction for a legal fiction. So lawyer equals license to lie, license to kill. They are protected in the fiction world. They protected out of British Annotated Registry. To practice license, to practice license, practice license, to practice license, with a license to lie, acting as the middleman between the illiterate underworld and the fiction court. But when I go to court, they always, are you competent to defend yourself in a court of law? Yes, because I'm a lawgiver. I know everything, them people that's halfway trained. I know about quid pro quo. I know about doc numbers. I studied the whole Chicago Law Review. I understand everything that the game that they're going to play, like in tennis, we call it volleying. License, governmental permission to lie and to commit unlawful conduct. License and licentius come from the same word in Latin, licentia, meaning of which range from freedom to act, to unruly behavior and wantonness. The Latin noun is itself derived from the verb licere, to be permitted. To be permitted. So Nigerian equals to be dead. The word is usually taken from Negro, which means black, And they say, well, would more mean black in Spanish? No, it don't. Retardo, negrito mean black. In Spanish, negrito beans. I'd be like, why are people even playing these semantics? Black means dead in the eye of the law. So when you call yourself Nigerian, you are creating a verbal contract to say you are dead. Just like in the Bible, not they trying to say Niger, but nigger, that's what it means. They know it means black. So your word becomes a bond, and the government calls upon your word bond, as a yield. That's why they say state for the record. So your word becomes bond. What you say on the internet becomes bond. You were paper terrorists. Why? Because you spread it on the internet, and they're going to use everything on the internet against you. Naira, Naira, equals currency for the dead. Naira is the underworld currency for the Nigerian persons. The factual money, the factual currency of the people in the reign falsely stating itself as Nigerians. Is gold, silver, copper, oil, and other minerals and factual substances of value. Everyone knows this. In those pseudos, in the pseudonym countries like Nigeria, the governments and the perpetrators of the lies wish to steal the value of the people by their own consenting pen, the word. So river, Niger, or nigger equal floating the dead. The word Niagara comes from the name of the river, Niger or Neger, which flows in Nigeria. This is also the case with Niagara. Negro slaves originated from the slaves that were floated in the slave ships to the middle so-called Eastern countries like Sudium country, Saudi Arabia, who were the last ones to abolish slavery by extreme global pressure in 1962. Negro equals black, and black means death. Swear equals blasphemy, is a curse. So when you swear, you are in fact cursing by word, something or someone. To curse is the language of the dead. This is why the fiction courts have you what? Swear on the Bible. And y'all not even catching it. Everything on the internet, these people telling you is a lie. And everybody going to jail as paper terrorists. They just building the case. And they know it. And these people are already federal informants. They already been caught up with the police. Listen to the words they saying, then listen to what I'm telling you. So signature equals to do evil upon others. It is nothing more than an illegal piece of scribble when pen in italics is written in a system called cursive writing, as in to curse someone, making you dead on paper by word and by deeds. This is the part of a system of the undertaking. It's a sign or a facilum of nature. It is not to be confused with nature itself. So mortgage equals death pledge. Mort equals death, dead. Gage equals pledge, a contract. A mortgage is an unconscionable contract that no reasonable people would ever sign or be an autographed witness, because you will never own your house, especially when it's in the public. You don't get no money to buy no house. Unconscionable is the dishonorable pleadings by foul means of unreasonable persons, people, actors, that is so unfair or unjust that it shocks the conscience. Things that are foul, unreasonable, unconscionable, are incapable of making joinder, incapable of making a contract, incapable of making an agreement. In fact, such conduct carries prison sentences and death sentences. The originator never says it in the contract. It's a verbal pledge. The prostitute, the solicitor witness, the verbal death pledge. And the death pledge is not on you, but on the mortgage originator, AKA the broker, because the broker getting paid millions. I showed y'all this, and I'm gonna teach it again, how you get in this contract and the broker know what they doing the whole time. The broker gonna get paid, and a high interest rate you're gonna be in. You bought the house 3 times over. The underwriter to fulfill the pledge of death for your benefit. And then you could be paying on the house for all these years and losing on back taxes. They are the debtors and you are the creditor. So when I talk about human rights, monstrous rights, humans come under a system that is known as a coloring of law. Use equal color. By saying that you are human, you are confusing that you are one of the many subspecies of man. Because the law dictionaries make it clear. Human is a monster, and a monster cannot what? Inherit their offsprings or their blood. You see how I'm correcting everything in a proper language? I don't care how you feel about some, well, no, we this. I'm talking about this certain parameter of law. When you take your raggedy self to court, you will lose and you will get contempt of court and you go to jail for at least 3 hours, especially if you don't have the 10% of what they make in your bail. Monster is defined as human beings and resembling a lower animal. When the European wrote the book, The Negro is a Beast, the Negro is a beast. The Negro is a beast. To quote George Orwell, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. That's a perfect explanation of what the coloring of the law means. You see? So when I say parliament, it speaks lies. Parlia, P-A-R-L-I-A, equals spoke, from parley, P-A-R-L-E. And then the ment equals lying, from mentor. It's a part of a system engineered by the French privateers to enslave, to subjugate the people and its various fictional colonies. Parliament is openly and in plain sight advertising itself as a house of lies. So government equals control lies. Govern equals to control. True to the French words of the United Kingdom Shield, they govern the lies. Pharmaceuticals, makers of poison and potions. In the Greek, pharmakia, first declension, pharmacy, to use of drugs or medicines. Sorcery, witchcraft, preparer of drugs, poisoner. Pharmaceuticals have nothing to do with healing or health, but in fact are the direct opposite. This directly affects you because it classifies as poison, potion. Another way of understanding this, they are advertising the side effects as something less important. When they read off the side effects real fast, it'll clear your skin, but you'll get this, your hair fall out, your nails, you'll be depressed, all this stuff. Understanding words, I tell everyone words are spells, and a big spell is being administered on the unknown or the uneducated. As if to say, the deadly effects are something on the side burner or like a side dish, but really the side effects are the direct effects of the pharmakia. And if they were to advertise the direct ill effects of their poison, potions, witchcraft, etc., you quickly catch on that you are dealing with a calibrated poison. And some of its potency comes from various placebo effects. Let's proceed. We got a little bit more time. Person equals a persona, an actor, not people. And when you use the word person, you are saying you are an actor. Then you become the subject to the acts of the parliament. And the contractional word person makes you gender neutral. Person also means a human being. A corporation, like a country, a city, is treated as having the same rights and obligations of a person, a human. Therefore, a corporation has a charter to conduct itself in a monstrous way. And the student is reminded, a monster can never inherit property or profits. The Negro is a beast. I hope y'all listening. Corporations with such toxic, deadly, weaponized conduits are doomed for failure. Therefore, personage equals a crime of identity theft. A third party creates a fictitious name which resembles your own and your consent. And that's what a marriage license is, a third party contract. That's what a will is, a third party contract, because now you have litigation, whether knowing or unknowing. They then place a charge on it. This makes you liable for the crimes, the losses of the fictitious name. The term personage has now been redefined to mean a person of importance, of rank, as an entrapment of an ego trap. Originally, it meant to assume the identity of an individual with the intent of accessing their property, a criminally prosecutable act. I'll give y'all a little bit more. I hope y'all catching what I'm saying. Barratry, regarding the Bar Association. Fraudulently breach of duty, Also, the persistent incitement of litigation by deceit, guile, trickery, malpractice, fraud, etc. Also to bring fictitious charges into court. This is very simple. Calendar equals the book of debtors. Originally, there were 13 months in a year. Calendar is a poison word, and you can keep a natural record of time without using a 12-month series of debt boxes called a calendar. Calendar comes under a system of double entry bookkeeping where the debtor, which is the state, the church, the banks, have switched the tables on you. The people, the creditors, into an everlasting state as a debtor. Subject, submit equals to be a slave. So when you are asked to submit a form, here we go again with all these people, these paper terrorists, you are instructed as a slave to submit to their will, thereby making you a subject of the crown, a king, a state. In monarchical governments, a subject means one who owes permanent allegiance to the monarch. Gender reassessment, physical and spiritual mutilation, to physically alter your psychology to the point where it is deemed mutilation. In order to maintain the mutilation, powerful chemicals and hormones, commonly known as blockers, are prescribed with the view of lobotomize you and your natural network permanently. This is to disconnect you from the higher functioning part of your neutral network. And when you are mutilated, you are registered as physically and mentally disabled, where you are designed as incapable of making decisions for yourself. And these are the key points as to what gender reassignment means. And for future reference, when I read the Diagnostics and the Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, also known as acronym DSM-5. Gender dysmorphia, engineered dysmorphia equals, impatience under affliction. In this sense, both the feelings of impatience and the feelings of affliction are engineered. And currently, engineered dysmorphia rhetoric is coming directly from the schools that are, by force and threat, convincing your young ones from kindergarten to universities that your male and female biology can become transit by way of surgery, reorientation, or chemical alteration, or etc. And there are hundreds of ways of causing dysmorphia amongst young people. And one of the most subtle is the female model, called mannequins, on display in the shop windows, which are male mannequins dressed up as females. And the innocent bypasser, the window shopper, believe that the narrow hips, the pinned back shoulders, which are broader than the hips, the flat breast, the slender upper and lower body, is the new physique for the new modern woman, which can only be accomplished through surgery, induced chemical imbalances, hormone imbalances, and mutilation. I can show you a lot of stuff that y'all don't know. A lot of stuff be men masquerading as women. Just a lot of that stuff, those those pageants, no disrespect, but a lot of those are men. With all love and respect. How I know? I did a whole research paper on this. I did a whole research paper on with them so-called misnomer Arabs, with them lady boys, them so-called Arabs that be having the dancing boys jump around. So don't come to me. The above description is reversed for the male by making men more and more feminine, and men that show masculinity are considered and projected as men having toxic masculinity. Mutilation of hairs, minors, to hack away at the flesh of a hair, a minor, for the purpose of mutilating. From Latin, mutilinus, to cut off, to maim. Mutilation carries the death sentence. Children equals ward of the state, slave of the state, also ward of King Herod's court. And when you register your baby to a register, you surrendering your baby to that register court. That's why the House Joint, no, not House Joint, but Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15 clearly states you have a right of a nationality and a right to change it. And to claim a child, and to claim a child replaces the birth certificate. and no one would be arbitrarily denied of a nationality and a right to change it. Just told you. So when you use the contractual words child or children, you are stating that you are offering your baby to King Herod's court as a sacrificial offering. And the register will in turn hand the baby over to the state as a ward of the state, which is a legalese way of saying slave or state. Just like when a woman go down there and get welfare or Section 8 or child support really mean nothing, and it takes the village to raise the child, you just gave all your rights up, and it's over. In addition, when you use the word child or children, you are saying your son or daughter is an offer for a buyer to purchase. And finally, the word child or children comes directly from the word childrenmus. To fully grasp the horror of this description, you got to read several times of what childrenmus means. Childermas. Research what that means, y'all. Research what it means. Festivals of the Holy Innocents. Late Old English. Childermassy. From obsolete, plural, of child plus mass. Just like when I talk about Christmas, it ain't no different. The mass of Christ, same thing. You talk about, oh, this is Christmas. No, that's Christ mass. The same way with this one, child plus mass. It commemorates the slaughter of children in and around Bethlehem by order of Herod. Read Matthew chapter 2, verse 16 and 18. Read it. Read it. And if you understand the etymological aspect of what that text saying, judiciary, the legislator, and the executive equals a trust where an unknown is the beneficiary. The judiciary, the legislator, and the executive is just another way of saying Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. Another example, the executive, the administrator, and a beneficiary. Third, the judge, the clerk, and a solicitor. Fourth example, Lord, spiritual, temporal. And since you know that you are not the beneficiary of the judiciary, the legislature, the executive, or the church, the obvious and open-ended question should be next. Who are you in relationship to this wanton trust? And the answer, you are the one that is volunteering to pay into the trust. And if you do not, they will threaten you on letter, threaten to take you to court, making you the debtor to the trust, so on and so forth. And on final analogy, see it this way. If you are a Christian, are you the beneficiary of Jesus' trust? If you are a Christian, are you the beneficiary of Jesus' trust? And the answer is no, because Jesus and the church of Jesus is the beneficiary. You are the one that pays into the trust. So to overcome and to take possession of this trust, you must learn to bear your own cross, which is another way of saying it. You take responsibility. You become the creditor, and they become the debtor. All rights equals you are taking control of the four corner rule, albeit on a document, on a tennis court, in a boxing ring, your intellectual property, your patents. Rights must be pressed. No one can give you rights. All rights reserved. That's the only thing you should be reserving. All rights, what? To defend yourself in court. When you go on a contract with somebody else doing business and you go on a contract as the regular person, which is dead, you're not doing business as a business and reserving your right. The only right you should be reserving. I showed y'all my little stamp. I don't know where I put it. Hold on. It's right here, I think. Yep. I always show and prove. This the only thing I worry about. When I get anything, contract, cell phone, I always reserve my right. I reserve my right to do business. I reserve my right. I reserve my right. All rights reserved, period. And I navigate how I navigate, and I do business how I do business. So regardless of what anybody feel, I'm never gonna leave nobody, or damn sure myself, in no burning house. Point blank. Point blank. All rights reserved is a reservation in advance, standing that you have reserved all four corners of your document in advance. And the easiest way to see this and to be cognizant of it is you booking a restaurant table, which is another way of saying that you are reserving what? The four corners of what? The dining table in the restaurant in advance. Stay in context. Stay in context. So through the judicial notice, make it a habit that whatever you sign or autograph a document or make verbal contract, clearly state that all your rights are reserved, that all your rights are reserved, that all your rights are reserved. Rights are always pressed and can never be given to you. You must understand this. There's no excuse of not knowing the law in a court of law. You have to press your rights and reserve them. Otherwise, you're going to lose them. Level playing. I'm about to end with this because I'm going to get into realms that nobody know what I'm talking about. A geometric level playing. Geometric level playing field. One jurisdiction lacking disabilities, boxes, planes, vectors, and etc. And when men and women come together on a level plane with open hearts, open minds, and open hands, without wearing purkits to hide their wicked thoughts from God, cloaks to cloak their intentions, without crawling into boxes or creating crawl spaces to hide in. This is called a court. A court can only exist in fact on the level plane with all the rules in plain sight and plain of sight. And when you are summoned into the fiduciary court, you, the neediest people, are walking in through the level plane and then directed off the level plane into the well of the court. And the well of the court is a fiction masquerading as a level plane. Even in those wells, the global constitution and judicial notice controls fair conduct. And the well of the court is a depression, a dock or a box, disabling you, where in worst case scenario, you are moved into no man's land. And in this scenario, anybody and everybody in different zones will take a shot at you, whether that be for money, babies, land, houses, parking tickets, etc. It is the nature of liars, abusers, wicked people, collectively termed stupid people, to put themselves in jeopardy by placing themselves in no man's land. When you a sheik and you a more, what business I got in court? That's no man's land. It ain't no reason I'm gonna be in court. That's for fools. That's for people that don't know who they are. They are openly stating that they are in war zone and are ready to be cooled, aka killed. If people die in custody, i.e. police custody of the court, and their families try to discover what went wrong, they find themselves where? In a legal no man's land. The fiction world would like you to believe that the well, they would like you, the well of the court is where the court proceedings take place. You see? Either way, the level playing is what controls the courts, and the judicial notice and the global constitution fixes fair conduct on the level plane. And in any court, the baseline is called the level plane. Without the level plane, there is no court. Different planes, boxes, vectors, and elevations or depressions below and above the baseline. Therefore, in the current position, all fictional courts, including all parliamentary systems and all banking systems operating in fiction, are in no man's land. In other words, the current de facto position is in no man's land. Hold on, y'all. Yeah. I'm almost done. What's up? Nope, I'm good. I appreciate it, though. Okay. Bye. So, with the judicial notice and the global constitution, there are no rules, so there is no protection. The places of no man's land leave the fiction world open to be fired up at will by the people. I'll give you an example. If a baby is wandering around in no man's land, anybody can do what they want, such as take the baby, use it for target practice, kill, cull, etc. And if you are honorable and wish to apply maximum force by whatever means possible, to protect that baby from being harvested, shut up, etc., you are free to do so. If you wish to protect the baby from PDFs, you may use whatever force you wish. This includes any judgments you may wish to pass, shoot through the head, castrate per se, because pedophilia, cannibalism, rape, liars, mutilation, all exist in no man's land. And in the fictional court, everything including the judge, the jury, the audience are all on different planes and vectors. Multiple boxes and vectors inside an existing court designate the boxes, and the victors have different rules within the larger four corners, the court. And every box, every vector is a different court and a different court case. The level plane where the real court proceedings take place is totally empty. I'll give you another example. You see this in the Olympic Games, where many games are conducted, right, on one field at the same time, right? And the field is clearly marked out as different boxes, different games, different rules. Watch this. Another example, there are different rules for the boxes on a tennis court, depending how many players there are in the match. On the tennis court, there are two lines that run on the other edge of the court. The space between those lines is called double alleys. And when you are playing singles or one-on-one, shots that land in the double alley are out. The science here is to fully comprehend that the fictional courts are always empty. The claimants are empty. The defendants are empty. There are no judges. There are no clerks. There is nobody. Nothing takes place because they are taken off the level plane, knowingly or unknowingly. Even in boxes or vectors, the judicial notice and global constitution fixes fair conduct, and there is no place they can go apart from no man's land, where they, have opened themselves up for fire under the armed forces. And all parties must know the rules, and whether they are dealing with factual matters or if games are being played on the innocent or the innocent. That's why there's no excuse of not knowing the law in the court of law. That's why you should listen to these jacklegs on the internet getting you caught up in paper terrorists as they go on a different podcast to podcast. It's payola. I'm telling you, these people are doing criminal stuff on the internet, and the task force internet just sitting back watching. And the foul practitioners of the judiciary system claim immunity by claiming to be in court when they are in fact knowingly out of court. On fictitious documents from the fictitious courts, liability is removed by making everyone a person or an actor and not a living man, woman. This is called frivolous paperwork. And then, and I end with this, because I'm almost done. How about that? I don't got that much more to go. In fictional courts, the judiciary do not take responsibility and always claim immunity. As the court is fictional, the immunity they claim is also fictional. Therefore, they have no jurisdiction. And when men and women have been damaged, there is no immunity since the moving party is 100% liable. And the illusion is created that you are 100% liable and they are 100% not liable. This is not fair conduct. This is rape and pillage. On the back of this, innocent people lose their lives and their livelihoods, for the people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Hosea 4:6. And when dealing with these lives of men and women, to conduct such foulness in the courts is constructive treason. And the judiciary of factual courts always take full responsibility. Without responsibility, there is no jurisdiction. Therefore, treason carries the maximum tariff and punishment, and it is a total violation of everything that we value, normally termed as holy ground. Hallowed ground is no man's land, dead zone, wasteland, where the cry of the dead is heard. In the Bible, they call that Galatha. Hallowed be thy name quite literally means it's the cry of the lifeless, the soulless, and the faithfulness, and the hopeless. Originally, the fathers, Yeshua, prayer translated, let your name be sanctified, which was poison to read. Hallowed be thy name. Hallowed ground is not to be confused with hallowed ground, because hallowed ground, Hallowed ground, is where the lifeless, the soulless, the faithless, the hopeless, etc. persons come together to make foul dead agreements derived from the word howling, Howling, or mourning, Mourning, or we call the mourning, Mourning, mourning the dead. And when they come together to conjure agreements, i.e. amongst thieves, liars, rapists, this is known as hallowed ground. And to recap what I just said, hallowed ground is the contracting venue of the dead. Jesus, Yeshua said unto him, let the dead bury the dead, right? In Luke 9:60, right? Right? To recap what I said, a court is a total representation of fair conduct. Everything else is foul conduct and practice. Factual court represents fair conduct, faith, level plains, whether that be on paper or a place of meeting. The court of judicial notice and global constitution is the only fair, safe place where people who lack congruent can be brought together to communicate. And in my closing argument or my closing statement, to help and aid people, officers, agents, actors, not to fail in jeopardy, we have educated you under penalty of perjury, under the misprison of a felony and treason, with the facts by the rule of conjurance and in good faith. You are service, and there is no escaping in any act, as parliamentary discretion or judicial immunity from the crimes that are committed against the people, whether they are termed as bad actors or not. All boxes, planes, and perkies, etc., in every jurisdiction are removed. All liars and wrongdoers have no immunity in boxes, planes, perukes, future, past tenses, etc. There is no expiry date. There is no expiry date on fraud. So when these people had you fill out all this paperwork, they just PFI your case till they get you all in a rapture, pending further investigation. Term no statute of limitation globally. Let equal things make joinder. Let no unequal thing make joiner. Liars can make no joinder with the living. You are fully liable in your private and public capacity, and the theater and the system of management through stage plays, scripts, productions, in the areas of theater or theatrics of war, theaters, commerce, political theaters, street theaters, movie theaters, global theaters, medical operating theaters, amphitheaters, etc., are unnoticed. All of those responsible for creating all forms of theater that cause harm or destroy the lives of the people, physically, spiritually, or mentally, are 100% liable for damages in their private and public capacity. And if the perpetrators of these crimes of barbarism ask for forgiveness, it has to be in the form of a public mitigation, and still will be subject to punishment and sentencing. You are duty bound and commanded to forward this notice to all of your colleagues and associates, because these are things that we talked about in college. An officer and a gentleman do not take an oath to protect lives. That's why in the biblical scriptures, we don't take oath. You got these preachers that's preaching that took an oath. No, we under the order of Melchizedek, we don't take no oath to no man. That goes against, so help me God, that goes against the establishment of who we are. And due to the judicial notice and global constitution, their pledge is not to lies, but to the people. And so it's so much that I can talk about, it's so much that I can share. That's just a tittle, because the judicial notice and global constitution in every jurisdiction, which also carries the Paris Treaty of 1856 into every jurisdiction. Remember the United States, but you know the United States, they broke every treaty. But the United States recognizes the judicial notice and global constitution. The judicial notice breaks the world of pirates and privateurs. Remember Title 18, U.S. Code 1961, racketeering. With the knowledge of these facts, the United States can no longer conduct privateering or pirating and are under the misprison of a felony and treason. Police officers, peace officers, constables, sheriffs, law, they have an oath of office. Officers are all on standby throughout our world, planet globe, to take instructions for you, the people, through the judicial notice and the global constitution. In the United States, these officers are authorized under Title 18 U.S. Code 1001 and every country in the world has its own system to empower law enforcement to go after the wrongdoers, whether that leads to prison sentences or death penalties being passed. So it's so much when you open a Pandora box. You can open up a Pandora box and get your rear end handed to you. You know? And so that's what I tell people. I'm gonna stop right there because there's more and more I can go on with, but I'll stop right there. You know, it's nothing new under the sun. I have these conversations in academia and civics class. You can hear a pin drop with my professors and with my teachers. And I always tell people, these people on the internet know they lying. These people on the internet know they don't know what they talking about. I just broke science down. Peace, Noble Lamarck. I told y'all what Veritas, Fides, Candor, Firmitas, flag mean. I told y'all what judicial notice is. JS029587168GB. When people be saying, oh, I need that. I said, need that to do what? Because I just broke everything down in a summary. So tell me, what do you need? So when you get something, what you gonna do? Because most people don't know what I just said. And when you listen to these people on the internet that's on all these podcast stations from hotel, just like Polite did, doing the same thing that Polite did, but it's just a different face. And people still falling for this stuff. It's Roger Elvick sovereign citizen stuff. I just broke this down from another perspective, and we still fall for this. And these people still on social media, on TikTok pages, and people in their inboxes, and these people are setting y'all up to go to jail, to lose everything, and they know it because they work for the courts. They already been looked at as crazy and insane. They already been put in straight jackets. I'm telling you what I know, and they come out and tell you all this stuff that I'm warning you for as a mapping guide. I mean, you can put me and a clean glass next to this stuff. They will not show up because they know they lying. And everything, I get a prosecutor, attorney, I get judges. These people would not show up. These individuals would not show up. They just making money off y'all. Anybody got any questions as I close? The only right you should be serving is reserving your right when you doing business. I just broke something down for you, and I know the average person don't understand. I know the average don't understand about doing things about private because remember, the religious laws trump anything. And a lot of stuff go over everybody's head. That's why I ask people, have you ever been to a real lecture where when people on the internet talking about stuff, and I give a real civic lecture with information, with documents to show you what not to do, and people still do it. I'm showing you what not to do when people talk about stuff, because I've seen this stuff on TikTok. I seen people post this about this judicial notice, this JS029587168GB. I just saw this on somebody's TikTok page. And the Empress jumped right on my page, was like, Sheik, would you expound on this? Because this liar trying to hustle me like he knows something, and I know he don't. And I just broke it down, and she like, everything he's saying, he clearly don't know what he talking about, Sheik. Because you just destroyed everything that all these liars talking about. I know I did. But see, most of these people are not educated, so they'll continue to jump on the internet with this paper stuff, and they'll continue to get the uneducated people. I told y'all, that's how this works. Uneducated people getting other uneducated people because y'all know I'm telling the truth, and we don't want righteousness. Righteousness is not popular. People don't pay and give donations for righteous stuff. People pay to break the rules and then try to beg, try to act like you didn't know what you were doing was criminal from the jump. And that's why I say this stuff should be over. This stuff should be over. I'm breaking things down lawfully. I'm showing you what not to do. I'm breaking down language and everything, and I know the average person do not know what I just broke down and what I just demonstrated. I know this for a fact. So if you don't know that, why would you be so fast to let someone on the internet take all your information and say you done joined their fictitious community or group, and what you have done is expatriated from this so-called de facto government that they tell you, and now you're a domestic terrorist, foreign and abroad. Because if you expatriate from the de facto government, who do you have affiliates in? What country, what state, what country are you affiliated with? None of these people have dual citizenship. So you would be a domestic terrorist, foreign and abroad, when they tell you, oh, we're gonna expatriate from the de facto government, and they making up some fake candy land with some fake paperwork, and all these different Negroes is doing that. We can't be that crazy. family. I just broke this stuff down for you. And so when you go to these courts, you will be abused. I just broke it down because they liars. And when you lie, that excludes you for life. When you're dealing with the people, when you're teaching me, you are excluded for life. You can't keep reinventing yourself. You can't keep letting these people come back again and keep reinventing themselves with these paper terrorist stuff. Or these people lying to y'all to collect money and say they got land. Man, we got land. Y'all can help us. We tax exempt for the federal government. We trying to build another temple in the city of Flint. We have a real library. I show people how to own real houses under our religious organization that's tax exempt for the federal government so you can do community work. Then I show people how to apply for grants that you don't have to pay back. I'm a source of information. I show people how to set their business up. I tell everybody, you talking all this business stuff, but you're not right on paper. You showing everybody your intellectual property, but you're not right on paper. When I tell people, stop collabing with people so people steal your likeness. You don't have yourself properly protected. Most individuals that's on social media that's doing any type of business, letting people listen to their music or letting people record them, your paperwork ain't set up the right way. So you lost all your intellectual property. And this is what I tell people. Be willing to give a person a donation so you can set yourself up the right way instead of just playing all the time. Be okay with letting some money circulate in our community. Be okay with getting fizzes and turbans and books from me. Be okay with getting donations, giving donations and helping us build. Because the rest of this stuff is cap. I can really help brothers and sisters to set themselves the right way. Educational-wise, history-wise, spiritual-wise, lawfully-wise, our religious, our spirituality-wise, historically-wise. I can give you everything to save you. And we can't be afraid to do this, man. So do anybody got any questions or anything they like to share? Once again, please subscribe to our Temple and School YouTube channel at Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. And please subscribe to my personal YouTube channel. My name, Kari Ibn Hakeem Goodman Bey. If you haven't checked out our company page, please check out MorrisHaberdasher.com, where I sell a lot of our Morris regalias. I sell so many items. mypdfbooks.com, that's books with the Z, where I converted a whole bunch of books to ebooks. I don't know if my muftis are done with bindedbooks.com. One of my muftis is on YouTube, I don't know. But bindedbooks.com, where they print and bind all expensive and rare books. And they print and bind the books the same cost as Office Max does. We have a tea company called Herbs of Mayat. My mufti, Gregory Maso El, is the CEO. My other mufti is Alonzo Wright Bay, and he do all our web design, everything, all the designs, and his company is called ALO Design Pros. ALO Design Pros. I also have my mufti Brian Hicks Bay with BMB Music Group, and his album is Transportation of Raw Material, and it's streaming on all platforms. My mufti Malik Reed L and my other mufti Lamarck Barclay Bay, they are health and wealth trainers. Lamarck Barclay Bay do it on our Zoom, and it be on StreamYard. He does it in the morning, and then my mufti Malik Riel, he does it on the weekends. And everybody's welcome to join. And all we be asking people to give a small donation, just a small donation, and this is part of our ministry. And you get a tax exempt receipt. It's no reason for no one to be confused. It's no reason that all these people, it's 3.5 million people, 3.5K that's watching me. It's no reason for no one should be going to Amazon getting any books. My emails, my inbox don't be packed with people asking for books and literature and history, but it be packed with all Europeans. It be packed with all my European Jews. That's why I tell my people, what's the problem? Everybody say they into this. Everybody be posting fake stuff like they studying and books and things. I'm like, I don't think nobody is really reading anything. It's a Chinese phrase called Sudoku, where I know people just be collecting stuff. Because a lot of stuff I be talking about, it be in the books that people hold up. All the books Bobby Hemmett talk about, I lecture them and I have them. Everything that Bobby Hemmett talk about, C. Freeman L., I have a full library because I'm him in the flesh. And I share this with my people. You don't have to go to Amazon and make their platforms rich where they don't dedicate nothing back to us. We go to Amazon for all our Morris regalia, Fides, and all that stuff. We making Jeff Bezos rich. Everything we get from our society, we have to go to Amazon. People get Fides, they go to Amazon or the Masonic site, George Lauderer, but they don't come to me. And this is part of our culture, and I can give you a tax exempt receipt. Nobody get books from me. I heard a person say, well, I like to write in the books. And then his empress said, Sheik, that Negro don't even study. That's an excuse. And she get all her books from me. And she download everything on her tablet. She said, what people travel with books today with a whole bunch of books in their book bag? She said, I travel with my tablet, Sheik. That's why I get all my books from you. And she said, if I want to print and buy in a book, I'll just go to Office Max and print and buy in a book like you showed me. Or she said, I'll let y'all brothers do it because y'all print and buy in the books for the same price as Office Max and Staples do. You see? And she don't mind paying because she be like, the books that you giving me, they cost $1,000 on Amazon. Why would I pay $1,000 and I know you? She's like, I don't mind giving you or your muftis $200 if I want the book printed and buying. And you give me a tax exempt receipt because it's part of your spiritual house? Yes. It's a win-win. And then it become an NFT. Why? Because I'm giving you the ebook as well. You can distribute the ebook to your friends and make your money back. Or do it a plethora of times and make your money back. And this is what I tell people. It fall on deaf ears to my people, and my people are lost due to a lack of knowledge because we refuse to learn. I say, why are we supporting and spreading this with all our people? Why I go on my European colleagues, I'm all on their page. Why people not getting the information from me, all the documents that I say we have for you can, for when a fraud jump in your inbox, you can be like, man, gone. You have the 1099 that says it's not a trust fund at the end of the rainbow from the county clerk or recorder of deeds. You have a state booklet where it shows you how the temple was set up. You have the proclamation declaration where they said in 2012 that we're Moorish Americans on paper. And then I can give it to you from 1985. You have these things that prove all the crap is fugazi. I'll give you Law Governs All Events by Charles A. Wiseman to show you how we can do things, stuff that's studied and practiced in Harvard. I can give you precedent in law case, doc number, Free Information Act. Educate you what the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15 consists of. House Joint Resolution 75 consists of. The religious rights of the indigenous people. Teach you lawfully things. The the SF 181 form pertaining to ethnicity. When these jacklegs, we talk about they some Moroccan officials. You ain't no Moroccan nothing. I'm a Moorish American. What type of American? Moorish American. What's my race? I choose Asiatic. What's my status? Free white. White by law. In that context, I didn't say that was my nationality. I just gave three things. The same way I was lecturing on here. The same thing I was just lecturing on here. What's my nationality? What's my race? And what's my status? And people not catching it. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and these three agree as one because I'm in another realm of linguistics. And that's what I be telling people. I say, you missing everything that I'm teaching because you're not willing to come to class to learn the language, to trump all this stuff that's happening. So you would be what? Operating in the right manifestation. You will want to know and understand. And that's the whole thing about understand, being an adult, being a flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. You understand, you have a clear understanding, and then you know how to defend yourself. Defend yourself solo and defend yourself in a group. Understanding the dynamics and the power of what I'm saying. And so, brothers and sisters, we have to support something that's real instead of making these frauds rich and they run off into the sunset and try to reinvent themselves. All of them, because they just collecting money from y'all. And then they say fiat this, but they collect the money. And they selling you some paper stuff and all that with expiration dates. That's fallacy. I never do that to my people. I'm part of the temple, which is the Moorish Science Temple of America. I'm an educator in real life. I have dual master degrees. I have a temple and school. And if you want to be a part of a temple and school to learn, I have school ID. I have a syllabus. I have enrollment papers. And I teach privately with my students. And I jump on social media to show people a little tittle of what I teach in ADAPT class on Saturday and Sunday school on Sunday. And even Friday, my mufti, Gregory Maso-El, he do book club reading. And every Friday, the same group of European students at GCU and the University of Arizona and a Christian academy out here in Arizona fill my email up with like, oh, we need that book, we study this, we study this. I don't get no mores. And then these Negroes go to Amazon and make Jeff Bezos rich. And Jeff Bezos ain't gonna do nothing for nobody. I don't care. People go in there and buy all these books of more science or history. When these misnomer Chinese people be making all these shirts that say more science this and more with Nobel Drali on it, these European people and Chinese people and people that just figured out a way to make money off our community, and they put that stuff on Amazon, and Negroes be buying that stuff crazy. And none of the money stay in our community. And I create everything. I'm the source. Nobody gets nothing from us but Europeans. You can make us rich in one calendar year, just like we make Amazon rich, and then hold me accountable because I'm gonna use the finances that people spend with me to do ministry, which I don't have to because everybody be getting what they want. I'm gonna use those funds that people buying things, Fides and turbans and our regalia, and getting gifts from me. Everything that people donate, I'm gonna be transparent. And then when I ask people for 300 people to donate $100 a month, and in 1 year it'll be $360,000 tax exempt money. Everybody that's donating to this, because we're not there yet, they are stakeholders, and they happy with what we doing. And I know it can happen, and everybody get a tax exempt receipt. So people have to tell me why we're not doing it. And so that's just a little tittle of what I wanted to share with y'all. It's much, much more. My muftis, I'm gonna send y'all a document. A lot. I think what's that? My mufti. I think that's Lamarck. That's on my YouTube channel. Lamarck, I'm about to send this to you right now for your study. And you study it later. Since you're the only one here on YouTube, Lamarck, you'll be the only one to get this doc, and you'll be able to study and talk and do further research and share with our muftis and our group and our private classes after Sunday school. This is the type of teaching that I give. It's nothing new under the sun. And then I have so much that I haven't even shared with people that'll make all these people run and put their tails between their you know what, because they lying and they won't show up and they having fictitious names. And I've been doing this for a long, long time. These people are just trying to do what Polite did. These individuals they're trying to do what Polite did. Especially the one brother that's all everywhere on social media now. He just trying to do what Polite did, but it's stupid, and they're gonna get themselves in trouble because this is just a Roger Elvick sovereign citizen paradigm group, and it's just paper terrorist stuff. And that individual know that he's gonna get everybody in trouble because he got in trouble for this. They'll smack you on the hand a couple of times. They'll let you out pending a further investigation. But then when they pick you up and then they start prosecuting you for the stuff that you're doing and they make an example out of you, then what? These people disappear, and y'all be thinking, as I close, let me tell y'all, nobody locked up for no information. Don't you ever think that. Dr. York is locked up for whatever he did, you know, that people testify, whatever. That'll never happen to me. Nobody's gonna testify I did this and that and the other because I don't rock like that. Nobody has nothing special that's gonna get you out. Or some magical science. No one. What happens is absolute power corrupts you sometimes, and these individuals know what they're doing. They can't do it to Europeans because Europeans don't play that, and they'll question them. And these people are not smart as Bernie Madoff. All you got to do is ask these people, let me see the precedent in law case, the doc number. And then you will say, what's your name? What chambers you did this? And then you get the precedent in law case. The doc number, you get the Free Information Act. Get these people real name and see what they talking about. It's gonna be nothing but all trash. They're gonna start running and they're gonna disappear. And they're gonna try to keep changing their name, and they're gonna try to get mad and upset because that's what liars do. They get mad and upset because the game is almost up. And they done got on the internet and put all that database out, and that's the evidence that's gonna be used, not against just them, it's gonna be used against you too. And the people that get in trouble, they're gonna go jump right back on the internet like it didn't happen. And I told y'all, this is a deadly game that we playing. You lose everything. These fraud on the internet that bought these feathers off Amazon, enjoyed lottery, and then talk about they some governor or some lawgiver or some Moorish official, that's cap. And they playing color of law with every one of y'all. It's playing paper terrorists with every one of y'all. And these brothers and sisters, they not smart, y'all. They just saw a way to make money off y'all. And we can do something the right way. And I'm asking for all my brothers and sisters' help, because I need my brothers and sisters' help to build our infrastructure, to build our community center, to build our libraries, to build our skill center, to build our safe houses for our brothers getting out of prison, for our moms that's been going through things, dealing with jacklegs. We don't have nothing. I can show people how to buy plight in their community under our and your religious entity, to where different taxes can be done, where cars will be registered under your religious organization. Then you do community work. That's what this is about. It's not about no individual selling you something in no stupid suit on all these dumb podcasts. It's payola. And none of them people will come with me. I've been around since that fake conscious community, since them Negroes was talking about they were gonna do Black Wall Street, since that brother from the Nation of Islam was talking about they got some never camps with 400 acres. They don't have none of that. I know most of them Nation of Islam Negroes under Scientology. I know this for a fact. They can't say nothing to me. I know a lot of that stuff come from the Book of Mormon and the Watchtower. I know this for a fact. So all this stuff these people doing, and then you see these people on different podcasts now. The goofy podcast, and I'm like, it's payola, because that's their claim to fame. They got to use other people that's uninformed to spread lies to the uninformed general population. And I just said this. That's how lies spread. But they can't prove it. They won't show up in the real court of law because they know they lying. And they already been shown to be liars. It's a brother called JT Pocket Watchers, had all of them on there to explain themselves. They all look stupid. All them fake Black Wall Street, the Nation of Islam brother that deal with that payola, they had all the time to get on there and explain themselves, and they all look like deer in a headlock. Oh, for real? I'm being scammed? He like, yeah, this payola. Like, you know this fake. The young dude, Ben X, looking all stupid. He jumped on my page one day. I said, now, if you say something, you know I'm going to expose the truth. Because you know I know, and I'm an elder. Nigga was on there quiet like a mouse. Peace, Sheik, I just here to listen to the information. Yeah, but I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you that's lying to the people that say you got 400 acres or some fake never land. Where is the land? Where the 400 acres? And people collect the money, so where the money? You ain't distributed people money back. These people be just as worth as the dude Umar Johnson. Who? All these people. What about they said that they deal with Bitcoin? You got this brother, the X with that guy with the fake Billy Carson, and they talk about they deal with Bitcoin. Then you got the Black Wall Street. Then you got all these people that say they can file this, all this stuff to defraud our own people, and these people still here. And so I ask anybody, what has any of this stuff done for you? Because at one point they were part of Black Wall Street. At one point they was doing this. At one point they promote this. All these people are selling you things in the community, and we don't talk about it. And I've still been here. These people don't collect millions and millions of dollars, and their whole thing was to get them I call it a Mexican Escalade or a Mexican Corvette, because I know where they got all that stuff from. That's why they can't say nothing to me. That's why the young Muslim dude, he was dealing with that Ponzi pyramid scheme. It was all payola. Do y'all know what payola mean? Research the stuff that I'm telling you, and I bet you they won't get on my page, and then I'll tell you everyone they was dealing with. Because I told y'all, I'm from Flint, Michigan. I done saw all this. I had a high school buddy that tried to run that game on all my high school friends with that fake Ponzi scheme, that five-fold bull crap. We pay your bills, do this, and you can do this. I know all the ins and outs of all that crap, and that's all that is. I know that fake digital marketing, all that fake animated stuff, it's all fake. They ain't making no money. They come with these fake figures, throw it in your face till they think you stupid. And then how they get paid is each month you paying for a fake course for them to tell you some fake generated stuff. And then they buy these fake testimonies off a website. I know the whole website and everything. I know everything. Just like I'm telling you, they did fake. Y'all remember when TD Jakes did a little skit with all this expensive SUVs, and he was like, if you got junk in your trunk, then the Muslim dude did the same thing, came behind a garbage can. I know where all the vehicles come from. They don't have them no more because it was payola. I'm telling you, I know the whole scam. It was a whole premeditated scam. And then the brothers like pay for your leisure, not specific, but all them people that was talking about they can do real estate, coming from that Jay Morrison, because all of them came from Jay Morrison camp. It's a book called The Influencer. And all that crap, when I be like, man, shut up, and I start breaking down the influencer book, they start to want to talk to me from behind closed doors, because it's all a scam. It's all a Jedi mind trick on the innocent. None of them can come to me with that crap. If you want to get land, and buy houses, I'll show you how to do it the right way. I'm a source of information. You don't have to give nobody no whole bunch of money. They ain't acting like they doing all this. Nope. If you want something done the right way, I give you the list. I get my finder's fee. I get out the way. If you want me to counsel you, to sit you on your board, to do things the right way and process, if you operate as a ministry and all that, then you're going to have to pay. And you're going to have to give a token for my time. It ain't paying no fee. It's a token for my time to get what you want. And it's going to be well worth it. And you get the taxes and receipt, because this is part of my ministry. And once I get my brick and mortar again, I'll be able to get grants to do all this stuff. How? Because I did it before. I had got a big grant to do taxes in the hardest hit fund. And I asked people to give donations, but I already got the grant. And people was happy that I had professionals come in and help me do this. And I had to write them in the grant but I was asked for people to give donations for the people time, and they didn't mind because we were doing people taxes for free because we got the grant to do it right in the community. I did it right at the Christ Enrichment Center. So no one was getting hustled and I didn't get no money off nobody taxes and do all that. People was like, man, you're doing this for free with these people. They didn't mind giving a small donation. And so I show people how to do things the right way. When I say we giving all our money to Uncle Sam and then expecting us truth seekers to spend all our money on things, and we're not rich people. If I was rich, then I'll spend my money. Like, I'm not rich and I spend my money now on processes and trying to make things happen. When my muftis met me, I had a building. I paid for it out of my pocket for 3 years straight. I bought 40 acres out of my pocket, but I had to flip it because I couldn't maintain it. It was just too overwhelming. I didn't have people. I had 40 freaking acres, and I had to sell it to a group of people that I met, and they were happy to buy it from me. They were very happy to buy it from me. They got their four-wheelers on the land now. They can do all their ATV. They got their gardens up there. They got the buses that they turn into little small living places. It's like a little home. It's like a camp. And I show people we can do this. When I have 10 acres, and I tell everybody, we can sublease parcels, acres, and build on our own. We can do this. Forget all that fake stuff. I'm right here. But people have to be okay with spending some money the right way, because we've been wasting it and giving it away. It's just like if people donated to our organization, I can give you a tax-exempt receipt, and you can be a stakeholder. And so the money that you was giving Uncle Sam, you can donate to the BBT, and you can be a stakeholder with everything we got going on. If we're ready to be like, man, I know people that put a greenhouse on this land, Chicago garden. I'm gonna give me a little piece of this land. I'm gonna help you sell it to the people. And now we have a big garden. And now we have our own campus, private, right off our own land. You know, I'm already established. I already have a full library. Nobody have to go to Amazon, because I give you gifts. I give you things for pennies of the dollar. And I can give you a donation for every piece of literature that you need on Amazon. I have it. And if they don't have it on Amazon, I have it. I know this for a fact. So it shouldn't be a problem with people supporting us, because I operate off donations. If you want turbans and fezzes, why all the more is not coming to me, but all my European nations get all their fezzes from me. They get their yarmulkes from me. They get their talents from me. They get their beads from me. Everything for our community, I provide it. Everything for our community, I provide it. What? Not some, everything. From our culture, to our regalia, to our books, to our science, even land, and even buying things in our community, I can show us how to do these things with small donations. And that offset what we give Uncle Sam as I teach even more. And then we can build infrastructure. We don't have to be begging. We don't have to talk about all these people that have been doing wrong. We can talk about the ones that's doing right, which is us, which is the collectiveness of us. That's everybody right here. So tomorrow we have Sunday school at 2 p.m. on our Temple and School YouTube page at Burning Bush Tabernacle sign of Temple and School. I will be streaming it on my personal YouTube page, and it will be streamed on TikTok, because I'm trying to court y'all, man, and I need everyone. I'm nothing without the body. I'm nothing without you and I. I'm nothing without y'all. I can't spread this ministry without y'all. And we just filling one void because we on social media. Now we can have a brick and mortar, some physical, something that we created. But once again, man, I love y'all. Thank y'all for listening to the little old me. Once again, I hope brothers and sisters start responding and start asking questions, because anything you need, if you ask it in the right way, and we're not being trolls, and we be respectable to everyone on this platform, because this is a safe place, and be respectable to me, I have no problem answering any question. Just like if I was a professional basketball player and I got to sign autographs after the game. I'm not tired. I'm signing all the autographs. Why? Because I'm nothing without the people. I would take time to sign all the autographs, but please be respectable of my time. Please be respectable of what I have to offer, and the workman is due his hire. And I operate off donations, and I give away so much. And all my muftis will tell y'all, if any of my muftis was on my TikTok page, or if anybody that know me in Arizona and a college student that I help, they'll be like, man, this man is all giving. They'll be like, man, this man helped me graduate out, get ready to drop out of school. This man helped me get uniforms for my children. He counseling my kid. My kid was getting all this Ritalin and all this. And so he said, man, just donate this to my organization each month, and I spend the time with your youth and mentor them. And join on Skype with them and mentor them and take them to parks and things. put that on me because I have the time. And that's how I create a whole group. This is what I have to offer. This is my teaching. This is who I am. I'm a protector of men and women and seniors and babies, not old dogs, but of young men, masters, ables, nobles. This is my responsibility, and I need y'all help. In one calendar year, I need y'all help. Everybody see my handle on how to donate on TikTok? Don't be afraid to donate $5 or $10 and then send me an inbox. I'll send you gifts. $10 that you would donate a piece of literature I'll send you costs hundreds of dollars on Amazon. If you buy a Fides from me, I give you stuff. I show you how to tie it. No one can do that. My office number is 602-473-8767. My email is my last name, GOODMANKHARY@gmail.com. Don't be afraid to give a donation to what we love because we have the finances. And see, when you're supporting with just a small bit of finances, see how much I provide. See, when you get your regalia from me, see the gift that I give you. See, if you bought a tunic from me, cotton or silk, see what I give you. See, when you buy a Fides from me, see all the items I give you. See, when you give a donation and you say, Sheik, I want to get this book, all the extras I give you. Why? Because I love you. I genuinely care. And I can because I'm the source. That's why. And so when I speak matter factual like that, I can for a reason, because I am a provider, but a workman is due his hire. So please get with your brother. You know what you say, repeat my email. Oh, my email is my name, Goodman, GOODMANKHARY @gmail.com. Once again, my email is goodmancurry@gmail.com. GOODMANKHARY @gmail.com. My office number is 602-473-8767. Now, I don't answer my phone that much because I be getting all type of calls. If you send me a text and you respectable, I will respond. But if a person just be calling me out the blue, I don't answer. I just let it go. But if you seriously be like, hey man, I support this, I want to give a donation. Everybody know how to give. If people want books, you see the plethora of books and stuff that I have to offer. As I closed, I shared a book. What was your name, Noble? Let me see your name. Since you asked. Sharon Deluge. I shared a book called, watch this, when I'm going to show you how serious it is. And no Moors. And I've been saying these books for weeks. No Moors got the books, but these European dudes that I know that taking Christian studies at GCU, they got the book. They were like, we be on your page, you be having it up, because I got another platform set up for the college students, because I be doing lectures at the college. And they be like, well, you be lecturing and showing it, nobody be getting these books? I say, no. And they say, why? You give a tax-exempt receipt? I'll be like, man, I haven't figured it out yet. But I'll be thankful for them. I'll be thankful for how they support. Watch this. Look how much this book costs. This book is still is $1,000 on Amazon. Still, it's only like 100 pages. This book's still on Amazon for a stack. And I've been trying to share it with people and let people get it for small donations. And all these European students been getting it. It's another book right here when I talk about Forgotten Cause of the Civil War by Tenzer. Watch how expensive this book is. This book still $1,000 on Amazon. Why would you go on Amazon and buy this book and I have them all converted to ebooks and I have the hard books? We can print and bind it for you. So why wouldn't you want to give one of my nobles a good fee to print and bind a book for you? And this is a paper book. It's a used book for $1,000 for some paper. So you would be happy to go to Jeff Bezos and pay Jeff Bezos $1,000 for a book. And I have it. And I convert it to ebooks, and you can get the ebook for a fraction of the price, or have my muftis print and bind the book. But the book costs a stack on Amazon. And the last one I will show you. I think this is unavailable on Amazon. Yep, it's called Atlantis of the Latter Days. It's $518 on Amazon. When I tell you all the lower level Masons, they just studying the Osiris mysteries. It's all Osiris mysteries. In the Bible, what Moses learned in all the ways of the mystery schools. So Moses taught Aaron what? The mystery schools. And I have all these books, physical copy. So why wouldn't no one want to get the research for me? And all these European students are getting it. They were like, you're a source of information. And when I go on a college campus, I lecture this stuff, and then they get all the books from me. And this is just a small fraction of stuff of wisdom that I have. I have a full library with all these hard copy books. I got books that cost 10 and 20,000 that was given to me from professors, and I just convert them because we have the tools. I got a lot of history books. You'll go on Amazon, you'll be like, why this book cost 8,000? I got a book by, it's called The Annals by Godfrey Higgins. I got a whole bunch of Godfrey Higgins books that blow your mind. I got all Charles A. Wiseman books, like Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness, and the rest of his books that they study in Harvard. I got Abraham Elam, The Magi, all 3 volumes. You know, I got a Russian icon. Matter of fact, this is the last one. Let me see. Russian icons. Let me see how much this one is on Amazon by Vladimir Ivanov. It's probably unavailable with all the plates in it. Okay, so it's $581. And when you look at the introduction, this book is in Harvard, Oxford, and it's not no black, and the book is not no black Russians. They're Russian icons. It ain't no such thing as ancient black. And this is the book. Let me show y'all the paperback book. So this is the paperback book. It costs like almost $200. And this is the story I was telling people where Negroes don't want to pay the piper, and so they get hustled. So I was lecturing, and a lady was like on my page like, oh, I found the book for $185 on Amazon. And somebody was like, yeah, buy the book, broad. This was another woman. She was like, and when you get the book, you tell us what's in the book. You get back on here and you tell the truth. And she got her stupid back on here like, I want to apologize to you, Sheik. And I said, no, don't apologize to me. Apologize to the people. She went on Amazon, bought the $185 book off Amazon, the paperback, and it wasn't nothing but pages. It wasn't nothing but words. And she gave Jeff Bezos $185 for some words. And I was going to let her get the Russian icon book for way cheaper than that with the plates in it. She would have got the ebook, download her tablet, or if she want my Mufti to print and bind it, she could have got it printed and bound it for the same price as the paper book with no plates or even cheaper and with extra books, and she didn't. Can't deal with me no more. Somebody was like, yeah, I got the book from Sheik. And they were like, you ain't get the book from him? They were like, this page talk about you got it off Amazon for $185. Everybody laughing at her. And I said, don't laugh at her, but that's what we do. We don't want to promote our own people. We'll make these other people rich like they got something better than me, and they don't. They don't. They just mark value of all, they just make all our history books expensive. Age of the Moors, all Rushidi books, I got all Amos Wilson books, I got all our scholars books, all history books, all law books, all commentaries. I have them. And I'm not blowing my horn like that. I have access to all this stuff. No way you should be giving your money to Jeff Bezos. No way. No way you should be getting affairs from someone else and it's not coming from a brother that you know that's legit. And I'm going to give you gifts. No way you should go to Amazon and buy a turban or a she-mag and I'm going to give you gifts and your money is just given away and what your brother is circulates because we are a community. So please support your brother, man, and check out our websites, mooreshaberdasher.com, mypdfbooks.com, that's books with the Z, bindedbook.com, ALO Design Pros, my Son Tees. Check out my Mufti Brian Higgs Bay Music, BHB Music, and this album is called Transportation of Raw Material. But besides that, family, we trying to do something serious and we already own 10 acres. Somebody can take this and be like, man, yep, I want a part of an acreage, you know, to build this on, to have your garden, and we can start building our urban gardens and we can put a structure on it to where we can have real progress and I can start showing people how to do real things. And then I can show y'all how I'm doing in my community where we can have a religious community, just like the Amish, just like the Chinese, just like the Jewish, where people have to be buzzed in our own local neighborhoods. And we do work with each other and we support our religious charitable contribution of our choice instead of giving our money to Uncle Sam. So once again, man, I need all y'all support. Please share these messages. Subscribe to my YouTube channels, man. Y'all got my information. Hit me up. Call me, text me, give a small donation, and I'll give it to you. Check out my book companies, and if anything that you see on there, I can give it to you. Look at my YouTube channel and my Instagram pages and my Facebook pages. Everything I post, I provide. Any book that I share on TikTok or on my Instagram pages, I have it. Or if anything that's in your brain that you see me post, I have it. I love y'all, man. Peace.